something to you? Are we mad or they mad? Let me give you an example. So they've been doing all this stuff, putting the kids on meds. They've been putting the kids in institutions, putting the children in foster care. They've been taking people's families away. They've been pushing people out of their neighborhoods. They've been giving people numbed down entertainment that incites anger, incites violence, doing all this stuff. It has been shown that they put the music out there so that they can try to rob the Black community. Listen, listen, listen. And it's not just Blacks, Black community. Trust me, there are Blacks that do this to other Blacks too. So don't get it twisted. But what I really want us to understand is that they will do all this criminal activity. They will put all this anger and hatred upon Black people. You understand what I'm saying? And then they will turn around and hide their hand and they will act innocent. And then they will say, something's wrong with them. These people have a problem. They don't know how to cope with society. Well, guess what? Here on TCLN Network, we ain't going down that road. We're not busting up no buildings. We're not busting up no banks. We ain't setting nothing on fire. We ain't cussing the police out. We're not doing none of that. Do you understand me? We bigger, we're better, we're brighter, and we're bolder. And that's why we're going to get into this topic because housing is important. And just in case you are one of those people, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me, honey. So, I'm blessed. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I bet you a lot of people felt that way until it happens. Until it happens. Until it happens. You already see what's happening with the middle class. Until it happens, then you want the world to cry. So I think it's time to stop having these kind of attitudes, to stop looking at things this kind of way, and to really buckle down. Because I promise you, before it got to this point in the United States of America of what's called gentrification, there have been voices crying in the wilderness for I don't know how long. People just wasn't listening. They just was not taking it seriously. Remember back in the day when they kept saying they're going to cut Section 8? They're going to cut Section 8. Y'all, they going to cut Section 8. Y'all better be planning. Y'all better be doing stuff. Either people didn't take it seriously. Either people thought, no way they would have all these people out of housing. Either people thought, psh, you understand what I'm saying? And they just didn't take heed. Right now, today, Section 8 is not a place where you can just go apply. Every now and then they'll open up a list. Every now and then. But that thing has been closed for years. And pretty much all the people who are on it, you know how that go, guys. Rents and rents are getting higher. All kind of things are happening. Gentrification. So I think it's time for us to really understand what are these people talking about when we get a headline, when we get a title in the media, when we get this, and instead of just brushing it off, what is going on? What is going on? That's what TCLN Network is all about. Make sure you're hitting that notification bell. Make sure you're hitting that subscription button. Make sure you're hitting that notification bell. Make sure you are sharing this. If you are in Chicago, you're going to need this. You're definitely going to need it. But do not limit this to Chicago. Gentrification, housing problems, all these things that are going on, it is happening across America. Please do not limit it to a tagline that you hear in the media, to Obama, to the Obama Center. It goes deeper, and let's get into it right now. I want to start with manipulative narrative versus reality, right? We always need to make sure that when you hear all this stuff on social media, none of that stuff is going to help you if it's not truthful, if it's not based in facts. Anytime you're coming up against the giant, how are you going to knock the giant out when you come in with gossip, when you come in with he say, she say, when you come in with anger, when you come in with theft, when you come in with all the things they want you to come with so you can never make change? But I think in social media land, so much has shifted and people have gotten a little lax. So I got to remind people, we got to get back to the basics. What do you do in entrepreneurship when things start going awry? You go back to the basics, right? You go back to the elements. You go back to the foundations. We got to get back to the basics, right? So just remember that when you're dealing with organizations, when you deal, even abortion things, if people believe in abortions, they gonna sway your opinion. If people don't believe in abortions, they're going to sway your opinion. Remember, everybody, if the church is trying to get you to join, they got something for you. If they gonna tell you about the big bad wolf called Satan, you understand how the story go, right? Even though you're gonna go to church and you deal with most of the hell in the church house. And you're gonna be like, I thought you said it was Satan. But anyway, let's continue. Okay. Now, another thing I want you to be aware of is mainstream media gaps. You must always be aware of this. This is very, very important, guys. Because in mainstream media, you have to understand, you've been watching it for years, ever since a kid. They're going to get an expert. They're going to get a politician if it's about politics, or education, if educator, if it's about education. And then they're going to talk to people. You understand what I'm saying? A few people about the subject, about the topics and how it's affecting them, about how it's affecting them. Now, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, there are millions of people that live in Chicago. There are thousands upon thousands who have been affected by what? Gentrification, by what? All these different issues, right? So when you go talk to people as mainstream, they can only talk to so many people. I don't care if you got 5 outlets, they can still only talk to so many people at a time. Do you understand what I'm saying? They only have so much time, but there are millions of voices that are left out. There are millions of opinions. There are millions of people. And remember, these are outlets. So they're going to make sure that even though they are interviewing the people, that the stories match to the stories that they need to give according to their brand, according to their what they're going for. So you have to understand there's a motivation behind everything. But in that, millions of voices are left out. It will never be totally right. You can only statistify so many people. You've left out all the rest of the voices. So you can only go by the basis of what you're hearing, right? So there's millions of voices that haven't been heard, millions of opinions, millions of people. Everybody don't think the same. You can have 5 people stay in the projects, but you're going to have 5 people that think differently. They got a different opinion, a different way of viewing. So if you are leaving out millions of people, you're not going to get all the voices. You understand that? They're going to go on social media. They're going to see what people are saying. They're going to group it. And then they're going to come back and say, well, people are saying. But that's still not the heart of people. You understand what I'm saying? That's still not what people really want to say. People halfway don't say what they want to say the way that they need to say it. You know how they go. Lights, camera, action, honey. So keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind as we go through that. That's very important, guys. Let's pinpoint this problem. It's simple. Rising rents, investor buyouts, and people being pushed out. Simple. Simple. Rising rents, investor buyouts, people being pushed out. Now, all the opinion, those are the facts, those are the bases. Now, there's a lot of opinions wrapped around why those things are happening. Greed, corporate capitalism, people don't care, or the other side, these people are lazy, they don't want to do nothing for themselves, they don't try, so they end up in the, but people got all kind of opinions, right? So again, this is the facts. Rising rents, investor buyouts, and people being pushed out. Those are the facts. Do you understand what I'm saying? No matter how you kick it, no matter how many different opinions you place around it, those are the bare facts. Okay? Here at TCLN, I like to take these issues that we look at as complex. There's a lot of law, there's a lot of details, there's a lot of information, and people are so busy. They have to work, they have children, they have to go to school. It's so much going on, right? So I like to take these like just like when I saw that, right? I like to take this and say this is important because this is not just about the Obama Center. This has been happening over America. So how do we throw away the narratives that don't serve us? Because if we're going to make change, we have to have the information. We have to have facts. So that's what I like to do here, right? Taking that information, bringing it, making it educational, giving us leadership insights. So when you walk into any room, you understand what I'm saying? You are independent. When you go protest, you ain't out there throwing bottles. You ain't out there cussing. You ain't out there acting a fool. You know how to sit down. You know how to organize. If you don't do research well, you go get somebody that do. You form teams, you get together. You understand what I'm saying? You make small groups and then you come together as a large group. Remember, when you show up at any event, because they're going to be having these protests in Chicago, they're going to be having these campaigns, and you may keep having them across America, but you got to have your things together. You got to have your information together. You just can't walk in the room. Y'all MFs ain't no good. Y'all this, y'all that, y'all. You know, oh, you can't just go copycatting what other people say. So I watch social media. I heard what they said. So I'm going to copy what they said and act like I know what I'm talking about. No, whatever is important to you, you don't have to know everything. Take what's important to you because that's your voice, that's your spirit. Sit down, research it. You got too many tools, Chat GPT. You got everything. You got everything. Google everything at your fingertips. Just do some research. What are your laws? What are we talking about right now today? We're talking about gentrification. We're talking about the Obama Center. You understand what I'm saying? We're talking about why did she say what she say? Then we're breaking it down, asking, is it true? Is it totally true? And is that the person or the people we need to be coming up against? Is Obama apology going to matter? Is they going to make change for us? You understand what I'm saying? See, let me give you an example. Like I said earlier, if your head, understand what I'm saying? If somebody hits you in the head and they bust your head, think about that. They bust your head. Your head is bleeding. Someone did that, right? And are you going to go to someone up the street who didn't do it and say, you bust my head, you owe me, you owe me? No, because nothing's going to get done. Absolutely nothing. So in the meantime, that bust on your head still needs to be fixed. So now you're going to run to the foot doctor. I need for you to fix what's happening with my head. Well, the doctor going to say, well, what happened to your head? And meanwhile, you bleed. Meanwhile, you bleed now. Everybody running you around in circles and you bleed now. They not even telling you, look, I can't do nothing for you. I can't do nothing for you. That's a head wound. You got to go to the head doctor. They just sitting there, letting you vent, letting you be angry, letting you discuss it. They don't care. They letting you waste your time, waste your energy. Meanwhile, this wound bleeding out. And you over here trying to get the foot doctor to fix it. And the foot doctor cannot fix it. And then after all that, somebody finally come tell you, well, the foot doctor can't do nothing, so you need to go over there to the head doctor so he can fix the wound. Then you finally skip over there to the head doctor. Hopefully you got a correct head doctor or somebody who do care, because by this time you done bled out. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all get the analogies of what I'm saying. And let's apply that to this situation. When you go to Obama, you owe us an apology. Okay. Is an apology going to fix the problem? And do this man have the power to actually deal with this legislation? You understand what I'm saying? Being a president, you have to understand. Let me give you this. Before Obama got into office as a president, he got 2 terms, right? So you must understand, Chicago must have thought he was doing something right. Nobody runs out the blue and say, oh, we love you, Obama. We know you, Obama South Side, if you wasn't doing something right in Chicago. As a matter of fact, people would do the very opposite, wouldn't they? They'd be like, ain't nobody finna vote for him. We know him from around the way. We know he didn't help us. We know he didn't care about us. And they would not vote for him. They would not be proud to call Michelle from the South Side. So obviously they were doing something right when they were in Chicago. Obviously, right? So what happened? What make them say, we put you in there, we thought you was going to do this, and you ended up being nothing? What happened, guys? What happened? I'm going to tell you what happened. And I'm going to tell you the truth of what happened. When you become a president, you're no longer local. This ain't community activism. This is national. And you're given a title. You are in charge, chief, military, certain duties. Do you understand that? Now, so much you can do. Do you understand that? So much you can do. So much you can do. You're not just responsible for Chicago. You're dealing with a whole nation of people. Now, you forget that there are local governments, your government in Chicago, government here in Texas, governments in California, wherever states you stay at. Everyone has a government. Do you understand that? So now you're dealing with someone who transitioned from local, who did all this great work that y'all guys were so proud of. You were proud to call him and Michelle your own, proud to say they were from the South Side, but now they have transitioned. Let's keep going. You got to keep that in mind. So you trying to go over to the foot doctor for your head wound. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You got to keep that in mind, okay? Now, what they are pissed about, just in case you're in Chicago, you may know about this, but the people who are not in Chicago, they may have never ever heard of this. Now, what they are upset about is what's known as a CBA. What is a CBA? A CBA is known as a community benefits agreement. Okay. This is a legally binding contract, just to give you pointers. It protects local residents and forces developers to commit to a set of ideas and a set of protections, right? Well, why are they fussing at Obama? Let's get into it. This CBA that they are referring to refers to the Obama Foundation. It is a private CBA and it stands again for Community Benefits Agreement. This is a legally binding contract between a developer and a community coalitions. It typically requires the developer to protect local benefits, such as a set percentage of affordable housing, local hiring guarantees, or job training. Okay? Now, that's what the CBA is about. So, for years, the Obama Foundation resisted signing a private CBA with local activists, groups like the Obama CBA Coalition. The foundation argued that as a nonprofit, this is what his foundation had to argue, its entire mission was to benefit the community, and it has already answered to the city of Chicago. Okay? So what he basically was saying that we have already put some stipulations in place through our Obama Foundation to make sure that when you build this building, that there will be jobs for women, uh, people, minority businesses, that there will also be jobs for construction, and so that people would be taken care of. He said so. So the foundation said we don't need to go and sign another private agreement. Okay. Number one, they're not legally bound to. And then number two, I try to get people to understand when you develop organizations, there's a lot of legal things, especially nonprofit. There are a lot of things that are involved. And guys, you forget, even politically, there are a lot of things involved. So a lot of people fail to realize as a nonprofit, you are dealing with political stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And politics is kind of banned in certain ways. And a lot of people don't know this. You understand what I'm saying? When it comes to certain things. So there's all this red tape. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind. Right. So the Obamas did work out something that was known as the wood lawn protection. Right. So there was some of the things that he fought for. Now, let me show you where Chicago residents was very, very smart. Guys, this is so important because again, community activism is important, but you got to know how to do it, right? This is why I love telling you about Chicago. So here's the real issue. This is the real issue. So when Obama Foundation was like, no, we're not going to be able to sign this private CBA, what did local activists do? They said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go to city council and we're going to get some laws and legislation in place. And we're going to use a strategy so that we can get some protection. So while in 2020, the legislation was a historic shift in strategy, organizers, and even in politicians who passed it, they admitted they admitted that it was a compromise that did not go far enough to fully stop forces of gentrification. So I want you guys to recognize this. Chicagoans didn't give up. They said, okay, So you're not going to sign this, Obama. You're not going to have this agreement so these developers don't step in and stomp on us. What we're going to do is we're going to go get these laws passed ourselves. And they did. But what ended up happening is that it skipped over over South Shore and some of the South Chicago, and it protected Woodlawn area. This is where the big fight is going on. This is why you hear her say certain things. This is why you hear her mention Pritzker, which is J.B. Pritzker, J.B. Pritzker, which was the governor. This is why you've been hearing her talk about the mayor, Mayor Brandon. You understand that? Immigration, all these things, because it all kinds of ties in, right? So let me give you a little bit details, guys. Again, if you're in Chicago, when you guys get ready to go out to protest, the one thing I want you to remember is that as individuals, whether you're affected by it or not, and you want to be a part of something, know whom you go before. Do not go with a busted head trying to go to the foot doctor. You're going to bleed out. You're going to waste your time. Know whom you go before. Don't sit up trying to get apologies, trying to get stuff. Know who is in charge. Know your laws. Know your rights. See, how do we allow everybody to come here? Everybody gets stuff with civil rights, and then we just forget that we do have civil rights. So get back in there, educate yourselves all over again. Know those civil rights, but go beyond that. What issue are we talking about today? We're talking about housing, gentrification, and we're talking about certain things that happened that pushed Black Americans out, right? So, what laws in real estate, what laws in dealing with gentrification, what laws dealing with developers, what laws dealing with this stuff that you guys need to be privy of? That's important. Know whom you go before. You gotta have your stuff together. You gotta know what you're talking about, right? And this is why I'm here. So I'm gonna give you some meat. I'm gonna give you some potatoes. I'm gonna give you a little tossed salad. You're gonna have your little dressing. You're gonna have your good to sweet tea. It's gonna be good. But guys, you have got to continue your nourishment. You have. This is just food on your table for now. But you got to take that nourishment and keep nourishing. You got to do this. You got to do this. And this is how you're going to make change. Now, the problem that we have is that they want us in entertainment mode. Y'all go be entertained. Y'all go to concerts. Y'all forget about y'all problems. And then they over there knowing all the data, knowing all the information, making changes that by the time you find out, boom, it's time for you to go. Y'all see how they go? That's why you got to put entertainment in its place. You got to put it in its place. It's good. Go to the movies on the weekend. Go to a concert on the weekend. But the rest of your life should be about what's going on in my city, what's going on in my neighborhood, what's going on, what laws are they changing, what things are they doing. Nobody is going to do this for you guys. I don't care. Nobody's going to do it. You can't just turn on the news and watch a 2-minute clip and think that it's over and walk away. Well, because who does it end up affecting? Who is it affecting? Who being pushed out? Not just in Chicago, all over the United States of America. Whose kids are being put on meds? Who kids they talking about reparenting and taking out to forums? Who they down there in Louisiana talking about? We need to do something to them, get rid of them. We ain't these people. If I can find that clip, I'm gonna show you that clip, guys. I'm gonna show you that clip of what that man was saying down there in Louisiana. But yeah, it's not even y'all fault. They were doing this systemically. They were purposely, intentionally doing this over the years. This ain't new, guys. I remember way back in the 80s and 90s when you had the homeless shelters, and a lot of Black people were going homeless then. A lot of women with children. They were putting them on meds then. They were telling them, hey, if you want housing, you got to get on the program. Y'all know what the program was? Do y'all know what the program was? You had to go sign up and act like you had depression just so you can get a place to stay. So then they give you the meds. What would happen with the meds? Be real, y'all. What would happen with the meds? Then they came back and say, because you know how black folks did. They be like, honey, we ain't taking that mess. Black folks be like, ain't nobody finna take that. We don't know what they giving us. We just pretend like we taking it. People need housing. What did they come back and say? If y'all not taking this, we're gonna check your blood. And if we don't find it in your blood, we're gonna kick you off the program. You got to comply. So, guys, this has been going on. This is systemic. But this is what they want. They brought in all the bad entertainment, all the foulness, got the kid running around like okey doke, put them on the mental meds, then put all the weed out there. Boo, it was meant to happen. They was meant to try to destroy in the United States of America. But there are people who are affected the most.